You've probably never noticed how much energy it takes to hate yourself. It's invisible, constant, like a leak in a pipe you can't see but shows up in your water bill every month. You go through your day feeling drained and you blame your schedule, your sleep, your diet. But what if the real problem is simpler? What if you're exhausting yourself by being at war with who you are? Every time you look in the mirror and pick yourself apart. Every time you replay a conversation and cringe at what you said. Every time you see someone else's life and use it as proof that something's wrong with yours. That's not just thinking, that's active work, and it's costing you more than you realize. Self-loathing isn't a character flaw or a personality trait. It's a habit, a pattern your brain learned somewhere along the way, and today we're going to break it. Because the energy you've been using to tear yourself down, you're going to need it for what comes next. Self-loathing operates in the background of your life like a program running on your phone that's constantly draining your battery. You don't see it happening, but you feel the effects. You feel tired for no reason. You feel unmotivated even when you want to do things. You feel irritated, restless, disconnected, and you blame it on stress, on your circumstances, on being busy. But what if the real drain is the war you're waging with yourself inside your own head? Because here's what nobody talks about. Self-loathing is active work. It takes energy to constantly monitor yourself for flaws, to compare yourself to others and always come up short, to maintain this running list of everything you hate about yourself. Your brain is working overtime, but not to build anything, just to tear you down, over and over. Think about what happens when you make a simple mistake. Someone else might shrug it off. But you spiral. That spiral isn't free. It costs energy, mental energy, emotional energy, the kind of energy you desperately need for everything else. And the worst part is you don't even realize you're doing it. It's become so automatic that it feels like truth, like facts. But it's not, it's just noise that's been playing so long you forgot you could turn it off. Self-loathing doesn't just live in your head. Your body is paying the price too. When you constantly think negative thoughts about yourself, your body responds like it's under attack. Your nervous system stays activated. Your cortisol levels stay elevated. You're essentially putting yourself in a chronic state of stress, not because of external threats, but because of how you're treating yourself internally. This is why self-loathing makes you physically tired. Your immune system weakens. Your sleep quality tanks even when you get enough hours. Your digestion gets weird. You get tension headaches, tight shoulders, a clenched jaw you don't notice until it hurts. Your body is trying to protect you from a threat, except the threat is you. And there's no escape from that. You carry it everywhere. Some people work out religiously, eat perfectly, take all the supplements, and still feel exhausted. They can't figure out why their energy never improves. It's because they're trying to fix their body while their mind is still attacking them. You can't supplement your way out of self-hatred. You can't sleep your way out of it either. The drain is coming from inside. And until you address that, nothing else will work. Your body isn't the problem. Your relationship with yourself is. Let's talk about what feeds self-loathing in the modern world. Comparison. But not the way you think. It's not just about seeing other people's success and feeling bad. It's about how comparison turns your attention outward constantly, measuring yourself against an impossible standard that doesn't even exist. You see someone's achievement and immediately think, what's wrong with me that I haven't done that? You see someone's life and think, why can't I have that? And every single time you're using it as evidence that you're lacking. But here's the trap. Those people you're comparing yourself to, they're doing the same thing. Everyone's playing this game where nobody wins because the goalpost keeps moving. And every comparison drains you a little more. Because comparison isn't neutral observation, it's active judgment. You're constantly putting yourself on trial and finding yourself guilty. Guilty of not being further along. Guilty of not achieving enough, earning enough, being enough. And here's the cruelest part. Even when you do accomplish something, self-loathing doesn't let you celebrate. It immediately moves the target. Sure, you did that, but look what you still haven't done. You never get to rest. You never get to feel satisfied. The drain never stops. You're running a race where the finish line keeps moving backward every time you get close, and you wonder why you're exhausted. It's because you're not allowed to win. Self-loathing and perfectionism are best friends. They feed each other. You think, if I could just be perfect, I'd finally be okay. So you set impossible standards, and when you inevitably fall short because perfection isn't real, self-loathing swoops in and says, see, I told you that you weren't good enough. And the cycle continues. Perfectionism tricks you into thinking it's helping, that it's pushing you toward excellence. But it's not. It's holding you hostage. Because perfectionism isn't about doing great work. It's about avoiding the feeling of being flawed. It's a defense mechanism against the fear that if you're not perfect, you're worthless. And that fear, that's pure self-loathing. Here's what this looks like in real life. You have an idea for something, a project, a creative pursuit, a goal. But before you even start, your mind floods with all the ways it won't be good enough, all the ways you'll mess it up, all the ways it'll prove that you're not capable, so you don't start. Or you start and stop because it's not meeting your impossible standard, and then you beat yourself up for not following through. You're trapped. Self-loathing keeps you from trying, and punishes you for not trying. It's exhausting, and it takes an enormous amount of energy to maintain this prison you've built for yourself. You're both the prisoner and the guard, and you're using all your strength to keep yourself locked up. So how do you actually stop? How do you reset when this pattern has been running for years? The first step is radical awareness. You need to start catching yourself in the act. Not to judge yourself for it, that's just more self-loathing, but to simply notice. I'm doing it again, I'm tearing myself down, I'm comparing, I'm spiraling. The moment you notice, you create a tiny gap, a space between the thought and your belief in it, and in that gap, you have a choice. Because here's the truth that changes everything. Those thoughts aren't facts. They feel true because they're familiar. They feel powerful because they're loud. But they're not reality. They're just patterns your brain has learned. Neural pathways that have been reinforced over time. And just like any pattern, they can be interrupted. They can be changed. When you catch a self-loathing thought, try this. Imagine a friend came to you and said the exact thing you just said to yourself. What would you tell them? Would you agree? Would you pile on? Or would you offer them perspective, compassion, understanding? You'd tell them they're being too hard on themselves. That one mistake doesn't define them. That everyone struggles. Why is it so easy to give others compassion but impossible to give it to yourself? The answer is you've practiced self-loathing for so long it became automatic. Now you need to practice something different. And just like anything else, it gets easier with repetition. When you stop the constant self-attack, something amazing happens. You get your energy back. Not all at once, but gradually you start to notice you have more bandwidth, more capacity. You're not spending all your mental resources on an internal war. You can actually focus on what's in front of you. You can be present with people instead of half listening while your inner critic runs in the background. You can try new things without the paralyzing fear that failure will confirm what you already believe about yourself. Think about how much energy goes into hiding. When you loathe yourself, you spend enormous amounts of energy trying to make sure nobody else sees what you see. You perform. You pretend. You present a version of yourself that seems acceptable while internally you're convinced you're a fraud. That's exhausting. What if you didn't have to do that anymore? What if you could just be yourself, flaws included, without treating every imperfection like a catastrophe? The energy you'd reclaim would be staggering. People talk about self-care like it's bubble baths and face masks, but real self-care is stopping the internal violence. It's refusing to let that critical voice run unchecked. It's protecting your energy by protecting yourself from yourself. Because every ounce of energy you spend hating yourself is energy you could be using to build something, to connect with someone, to actually live your life instead of just surviving it. You don't have to love yourself immediately. That's too big a jump. If you're deep in self-loathing, being told to love yourself feels impossible and frankly insulting. So start smaller. Start with neutrality. Instead of I hate my body, try I have a body. Instead of I'm a failure, try I'm a person who's learning. Neutrality isn't exciting, but it's honest. And it stops the drain. Because neutral thoughts don't cost energy the way judgmental ones do. You're not fighting, you're not defending, you're just observing. This is what mindfulness actually means. Not sitting cross-legged meditating, though that's fine too. But being able to observe your own thoughts without immediately believing them or reacting to them. There's that thought again that I'm not good enough. Interesting. You don't have to argue with it. You don't have to convince yourself otherwise. You just notice it's there, and you let it pass. Because thoughts are like weather. They come and go. You don't have to act on every thought that crosses your mind. Most of them aren't even yours originally. They're things you absorbed from parents, from culture, from past experiences. You're just repeating them. But you can stop. You can choose neutrality. And from neutrality, you can eventually move toward acceptance. And from acceptance, maybe one day, something that looks like self-love. But you don't have to get there today. Today, you just have to stop the attack. Here's what happens when you stop draining your energy with self-loathing. You start showing up differently. You take chances you wouldn't have taken before. You speak up instead of staying quiet. You set boundaries instead of letting people walk over you because you don't think you deserve better. You stop apologizing for existing. You stop making yourself small to make others comfortable. And people notice. Not because you've become someone new, but because you're finally letting yourself be who you actually are without the constant interference of self-hatred. Your relationships improve because you're not constantly seeking validation to counteract the loathing. Your work improves because you're not sabotaging yourself before you even start. Your health improves because you're finally treating yourself like someone worth taking care of. This is the life that's waiting on the other side of self-loathing. Not perfect, not problem-free, but free of that constant drain, free of that voice that tells you you're not enough, free to use your energy for literally anything else. So here's your reset. Starting today, every time you catch yourself in self-loathing, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this thought giving me energy or draining it? If it's draining you, let it go. You don't need it. It's not helping. It never was. The life you want requires energy. The person you want to become requires energy. And you can't get there if you're spending it all on hating yourself. If you're ready to stop the drain and reclaim your energy, hit that subscribe button and like this video, not as a favor to me, but as a commitment to yourself. And drop the words reclaiming energy in the comments if you're done letting self-loathing run your life. I want to see how many of us are choosing differently today, because you deserve to feel good. Not someday. Not when you finally fix everything you think is wrong with you, right now, exactly as you are. That's the reset.